If you've been watching my channel since I've been making retail arbitrage and Amazon content, you've probably heard me say something along the lines of, an Keepa subscription is $17.50 a month, my Scout IQ subscription is $14 a month, so it's $3.50 cheaper. That's why I don't do it, but I am free to be convinced. And I'm starting to think, since I've downloaded the full version of Keepa and paying for it now, that that was a pretty big mistake from the beginning. Over the past few months, I've gotten Keepa and I've seen a marked improvement in how I'm sourcing. I haven't been sourcing as much, but when I have been sourcing, I've been finding less inventory that is not going to make me money because the price is going to tank, and seeing that even though the quantity may not have increased a ton with Keepa, the quality definitely has, even as I'm finding out there's some things like variations that I didn't even think about before I downloaded Keepa, and I've started actually looking at all the features, which we're going to go over today. I'm not guessing nearly as much whether something is going to hold its price. I'm not really making any decisions anymore based on guesswork. It's all pretty much based on data, which doesn't really lie on Amazon. And so today I want to go over how I'm using Keepa to become a much better Amazon sourcer so that I'm not buying nearly as much inventory that's going to tank in price or even just never sell. Don't worry, we'll head back outside, but first let's talk about the two versions of Keepa, both of which you can download in my description if you want to help support the channel. Even the free one gives me like 10 cents for Amazon. It's not a lot, but they're both down there if you want links to where to download them. If we just head over to keepa.com, honestly, we might be able to do this on Amazon. First, let me log out so you can see what it looks like just normally. But you can use this tool either just from the website here by searching on it a specific product. We'll use something that we talked about before in a video about how I don't sell this anymore. You could just search it up here and it'll pull up the information. And this is what you'll see when you're not logged into Keepa, or whether you just have the Chrome extension, which is the free version of Keepa. You'll see the price chart. So you can see it was $16.65, $17.25, $18, blah, 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 all of these things. This is the opposite of what I had with Scout IQ because I had the sales chart. So I would see whenever the ticks would go down and it would sell. Here you could just see the price chart, not necessarily the sales. You can look at what the Amazon price is, what the new price is, and then sales rank. To do any of that, you would need to upgrade to the premium account. But before we do that, let's just head over to Amazon real quick and look at a similar product. My computer's running super slow right now because we're in the middle of nowhere. We're in Monument Lands in Arizona. Super pretty, but also very much middle of nowhere. Okay, so since we pulled it up, we can see that we have the Chrome extension already installed up here. It's super easy to install. And then when you scroll down here, you can just see the price chart. The same thing. Not really a lot of other information when you go to track a product. You could probably track a couple. I've never used this before. I'm not super interested in using it, but there's a big data thing over here. You're not signed in, so you can't use the data features. And then all your settings are over here. This is all you can see from this Keepa chart. It is good information though, because you can see whether this has held a steady price. You can go to all time and see kind of where it has been and kind of see as the prices have changed, where the highs have been. This is kind of when I was selling it, I think, a little bit over these prices. Yeah, over in 2021, the prices really jumped. And if I would have had Keepa, I probably would have known that this wasn't a good product. I did make some money on it. And this is where I was selling it for a while in the low 20s. And now it's just back to where the baseline is of like $8 to $15. Not a lot of money. Even if you don't want to pay for it, this still would be a good addition to have. But this honestly doesn't give you a lot of good information to make any good decisions because it doesn't even have the sales rank chart on it, which is going to show you how fast something sells, how often it sells, and if you don't have something else like SellerAmp, which also has a Keepa integration, then you might want to get the full version of Keepa, which is definitely a good option. So going over here, I'll log into my account, and I do have the premium version. We'll look at subscriptions over here. You can see the data access is 19 euros per month. The euros? I always second guess myself. Yeah, euro. Okay, 19 euros, which equates to anywhere from like $21 to $25. I think I paid like 22 bucks this month. It fluctuates just because the conversion rate changes all the time. But in this, you get pretty much access to everything. And so now if I was to refresh Amazon, we'll see, oh, I didn't even need to do it. It already did it for me. Look at all this extra information that we're going to get on this page. We'll see the new price up here. We'll also see when there's third-party FBA on the listing with these triangles. You can take any of these things off down here. Take off the third-party FBA, and now I'm not seeing that anymore. I can put it back on. I can take off the buy box. I don't know why you'd ever want to do that, but it doesn't look like this has had a buy box for a while. I guess it just recently started having a buy box. You see over here, there's no pink line, and then right here, there's a buy box at $17.95. So you can see when the buy box comes on and goes off the listing. When the buy box came on, you could see there started to be a couple more sales. These green ticks are all the sales that are happening on the listing, essentially, because that's when the sales rank drops. And every time something is sold, sales rank will drop a little bit. It just depends on how often it's selling as compared to other products in the category. Sales rank is a whole other beast, but pretty much that basic, that when you see these little ticks right here, that's a sale, or at least a sale during that day. But that's what this main top one is. You can also see new third-party FBM. I would never look at that because I do fully FBA. And you can see whether or not Amazon is on the listing. Right now, they haven't been on the listing, but if we scroll back to all time, down here, all this yellow is when Amazon has been on the listing, and we can see there were a lot more sales, and this is when I was selling it, which is why it was actually a pretty hot seller for me, even at these higher prices. And you can click and drag, and then you'll get just that section of the timeline. And now we can see kind of around when I was selling it, there were lots of sales at these higher prices. I sold some of these for $40, which is really dumb, but obviously the prices tanked, and a lot of that you can see comes down to this bottom graph, which is another super important graph down here. If you understand this, you'll understand how the price might change. This bottom part shows the review counts over here, as well as the new offer counts and the rating. Review count, I don't really care too much about, except to show that people are actually buying it and reviewing it. This is more important in a different thing that we're going to talk about later in terms of variations. New offer count is something that's super important because, as you can see, it kind of has an inverse relationship with the price, meaning that down here the new offer count stayed relatively stable. There were 1, 2, 3, not a lot, and I was selling it during this time, and you could see that the price was pretty flat over here. It was able to jump up a little bit. This is when I kind of changed some repricing strategies, I think, honestly. And then as all these people get on, you see how it goes from 2 to 3 offers all the way up here to 9 offers, 10 offers, 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 15. The price is doing the exact opposite over that amount of time. The price is going from $40 all the way down to like $22.64, just basically because it's a supply-demand chart. This goes back to like high school economics where you have an inverse relationship between supply and demand. You see D is over here, S is over here. As the demand is increased, that means the supply is probably decreased, meaning there's less sellers. But if the supply goes up, the price has to come down over here because there's not as much demand to meet all the new supply. That's exactly what this is showing. And now this is something that I'm probably never going to get back on unless it goes back down super low. But I'm honestly not even worried about this because we can see that the new offer count at one point was super low. And look, when the new offer count was down to 5, boom, price jumped up from $20 to $30 on the new third-party FBA and the buy box. And then as more people got on, it just went back down. And now there's just so many people. Now there's 24 offers on here, selling it for $15.52. And I was buying this from Walmart, and now they're selling this. What is this? Crappie, Eagle Claw. No one's making any money. I mean, they're selling it for $22 online. You can get it in store from Academy at $13. Like, you're not making anything on this. So those are 2 of the important features of Keepa. And just to recap, we have the price chart, the sales chart to show how many ticks something has, how often it's selling. That shows whether there's actual volume or if the rank is down for some other reason. And seeing each of those ticks is a really good indicator that there actually is sales volume. This middle one, I honestly don't worry about it too much. This is just the sales rank chart for different categories. Fishing tackle boxes, it shows you how well it's selling. Sports and outdoors, it just is where the sales rank is in those categories, but I don't honestly know what good that would do for you. Over here, we could see that we have the overall sales rank, but that's not all that Keepa can show you on the desktop version. Just like we saw with the other one, you can track products. I think you can probably track more products when you have the actual paid version, and I would never do that, I don't think. I don't see any use for it. If anyone does track products with Keepa, let me know. I'm interested in that. The data part of it is also very interesting. There's so much data in Keepa. You can see it's taken a while to load because of how much data there is. So you can see 3 different things: product details, offers, and buy box statistic. The product details are just going to show a lot of the Amazon information over here. You can see title, what the reviews and ratings are. There's 28 reviews, 4.1 rating. Last price change was 22 hours ago. So if you're wondering how often other people are repricing it, how much the fees are going to be for it, but I have other softwares that tell me a lot of those things. So I don't really worry about a lot of this stuff over here. Oh, this is also something I've never seen this before. This is also very interesting. You can see what's frequently bought together with this. Oh, interesting. So these are like crappie nibbles, 3 options from $12.25. So that actually might be profitable because you can find these for like $4 at Walmart. If someone's interested in some fishing stuff, that might be a find for you, depending on how well it keeps that price, which it doesn't. $5.49. Just looks like Amazon went off the listing, and so they bumped the price up to $12.25. But it looks like for the most part, yeah, Amazon was almost always on the listing, so probably not a good find. But that is something that before, if I didn't have Keepa, I would be like, oh, this is $12.25. I can probably get that price. And without really thinking about it, I would pick up 5, 10 of them because I would be spending like maybe $20 to $40 and be like, oh, that's not that big of a deal. And then Amazon comes on the listing and I never sell anything because I'm not willing to sell it for $5.50 and I'm waiting for the price to jump like we see here. But when the price does jump, we have like way less sales than we did over there. Look, the rank goes so much higher. The rank is 6,400. It's not crazy high, but 10,000. That's over 50% increase. So that does change a little bit. But seeing Keepa and seeing where the price has been over the past 3 months and that Amazon has been on it is super helpful. Not only here when you're doing online arbitrage, but also when you're doing retail arbitrage, which we'll talk about when we go back outside. But honestly, this does seem like something that could be super helpful if you do buy these and you find them for a good price. Then other people might be selling these other things as well, and you can look them up, find potentially what other leads would be, because this is something that actually might be good. I think I've seen this. I don't remember if it was $5 or if it was $12, but I've seen this in stores as well. And this has way more ratings. Amazon is on the listing at 1842, but that actually goes to show one of the other things that we can look at when we go into this data page is if we go from the product details page, which we'll come back to over here to buy box statistics, we could see if Amazon actually ever shares any part of the buy box, and we can see that they have 100% of the buy box. New offer count is 4. They have over 1,000 in stock, and so if you're going to be purchasing this product, you're probably not going to be selling any of it because Amazon is on the listing. And this is something that can be super helpful for you because you know that the buy box can be shared between multiple sellers. Sometimes Amazon will share the buy box and you can see if they'll do that on a specific product or not. And these are the things that without Keepa, you'd really have to guess or find other softwares, but Keepa just has everything so simply there. I'm only affiliated with them in that they have that earn money thing. I just think that as I've gotten this, there's so much more information that you're going to make so many less bad buys. And I've already seen that myself, even though I haven't been sourcing nearly as much as I used to be because we've been out in the middle of nowhere way more. My Amazon business has taken a little bit of suffering for it, but I'm going to get back to sourcing here for the next couple days online and retail arbitrage. But just seeing information like whether or not Amazon shares the buy box because you can get a good price, I now know that these 3 other offers aren't selling anything. And so even coming back over here and seeing the current 30, 60, 90, and 180-day sales rank, Amazon price, new price, list price, and buy box price isn't really going to do anything for me because I know that Amazon has over 1,000 in stock and they never share the buy box. But on other listings, this is super important information that you can look at, and this can even help you source because not only will you see the average sales rank over here, the drops, which tell you approximately how many they have sold or how many days they've sold. So in the past 30 days, I guess this is how many they've sold. It's approximating 63. SellerAmp has something that's a little bit different than Keepa most of the time, as I've seen. Over the past 90 days, I guess it sold 161. Past 180 days, 303. So we can see about how many they've sold over this past amount of time. We can see where Amazon's price has been. And then one other important thing is if Amazon's on the listing, they might not always be on the listing. You can check that with the chart over in price history, but you can also look at this by their Amazon 90-day out of stock, which has been 0%. They've always been in stock over the past 90 days, and we know that they don't share the buy box. So this isn't something that I'd be interested in getting on, even if the price is good, because I'm never going to make any sales. And then one of the other things that I really like about this is looking at current and 90-day average for the buy box, just in case prices have really fluctuated a lot. You can kind of see what you're more likely to be getting. Because right now the buy box is at $8.42. Maybe the 90-day average is at $12 and someone's just trying to jack the prices up. You want to make sure that you're actually doing it at the average price, which we could see here. Or if you're at the price history, you're able to see that on that chart just in general, just by kind of looking to see that this is super flat. The next page that we can look at is the offers page, which is still in this data part. And we can sort it by prime, free shipping, FBM only. There are honestly so many features of Keepa that I'm definitely not going to be able to get to all of them. And I would just recommend getting it and just playing with it and seeing what all the features are. I'm trying to hit the ones that would probably best help you to source and the ones that have best helped me to source and will in the future to make sure that I'm buying really profitable products that will sell instead of just guessing on either of those things. But we can actually look to see what the stock history is of some of our competition. So we could see that this is Prime, this is Amazon right here. You could tell because it's in yellow. And this is actually kind of interesting because Amazon, it's questioning how many have sold, question mark. But even though the buy box statistics say that Amazon isn't sharing the buy box, they've won 100% of it. If we go over here, we could see that this person, $17.99, has sold 328 products, 72 in the last 30 days, and their stock is right now at 116. So it's nice because you can see how many other people have of stock of inventory. These people probably haven't sold anything because their stock has been at 110 and 99 for freaking ever. And you can see kind of where they've been pricing it. These are all merchant fulfilled orders. They're not FBA orders. So I'm interested if this person has gotten the buy box or just because they're like 50 cents undercutting Amazon. Maybe Amazon is giving it to them for like a little bit, or maybe people just want that 50-cent cheaper price. So this is also another really cool thing to look at to see how many total stock there is on the listing, what the average price is on the listing. Don't really care about that, more care about the FBA. You could select for that by just doing Prime. And then you could see how many have sold and how many have sold in the past 30 days. So this is really helpful to approximate how many you might be able to sell if you see that the buy box is being rotated pretty fairly, and how many other people have a lot in stock if they're going to sell out soon, and you could just buy a bunch and monopolize the whole listing by seeing that it's maintained the same price, or this review offer count is going to go down and you can raise the prices a little bit. I want to find a different fishing thing here. Not that, because let's see what this is. There's one more feature of Keepa that I want to share with you guys before we head back outside to talk about how to use it on your phone, which is pretty similar because it has almost all the same information, just easier to see it on the computer, but I want to show you how to access it on your phone if you are out doing retail arbitrage. But if we look at this listing, we can see that there are some variations here. So we have ex-Fishman crappie jig heads. There's 1/16 ounce jig heads with spinners. We have 1/32 ounce. All these different ones. And this is something that I would never even think about getting on the listing anyways, because we could see the brand is ex-Fishman and we could see who's selling it, ex-Fishman, fulfilled by Amazon. So this is a recipe for a potential IP claim if you see that someone is selling the listing who is the brand owner. But if we look down here, we could see, yeah, their offer count is 1. So I probably wouldn't even be able to sell this if I wanted to. But what I wanted to look at here is this variations tab. We can see which out of these is actually selling, because sometimes there might be 6 variations, but only one of them is selling at all, or maybe all of them are selling, or maybe 5 of them are selling, and the one that you're finding a ton of in stores is the one that isn't selling. And that's something really important to know, because even if the ranking is super low, and we can see there's a lot lot of sales here, and the sales rank is 17,000 out of 27 million. This is selling fast. But if only one of these different items is selling, then you might not be able to find that one. So if we go over to variations, we can look at a bunch of different information. It actually does look like this is pretty well spread out between all of them. So any of these that you would find, if you were able to sell them, if this wasn't a branded listing, you would be able to sell. Each of the 6 variations has some information on this page. You have the image, the title, the new price, because the prices do fluctuate. As you can see, they're all actually a little bit different besides these two, $25.99. The attributes, like what makes them different, the color, size in this case, and then the number of ratings, which is going to give you a good idea of how many of something sells. So if we go over to here to the data part, look over here at offers, we could see that about 86 have sold in the past 30 days. So I'm just going to save that number up here real fast. 86 have sold. If we go over here to variations, we can sort by the ratings. The least ratings is 27 ratings, which is still pretty good. That's only 8% of the ratings, but we can see that here it even still has been selling because we can see how the ratings have changed over the past 3 months. It's gone from 18 on December 9th, and now we're at 27 ratings. So just over a 3-month time period, we've gained 9 ratings. And I don't know about you, but I don't like rate things. That's not something I do a lot of. So seeing that means that if we have 9 more ratings, we probably have at least 90 more sales of that over the past 90 days, because I would assume maybe 1 in 10 max would go and actually rate something. But we can also see this percentage down here. We see that it says 96 ratings. So the one that sells the most is this 1/16 ounce with spinner. 28% of the ratings, meaning we can probably approximate as 28% of sales. With this low of ratings, it's kind of harder to approximate that. The more ratings you have, the safer it is to approximate based on these percentages, just because there's actually more data to work with, and the higher the sample set is, the better your data is. That's just kind of a statistics thing. But we have 28% of them being this 1/16 ounce. So if we look at the past 30 days, we have 86 that sold times 0.28, the 28%. We can guess probably 24 of this 1/16 ounce have sold in the past 30 days, approximately 1 a day, a little bit less. This information is crucial and is one of the main reasons why I bought some things that probably won't sell for me, or maybe I'll have to wait forever to sell because I didn't have this information and didn't realize that variations sold differently and that their sales ranks were all the same. The rank for all of these, even though this one sells 8% of the listing and this one sells 3 times more at 28%. The sales rank is the exact same for every single one of them if you're going to look them up in a store. And the last thing you can look at over here is just the settings, and this is just going to change how you want to deal with what you want to be shown over here. I really haven't adjusted anything, and I think it's pretty fine. But back over here on Keepa, you can look at some more information as well. I honestly don't really look at this page because I don't source using Keepa, but I guess you can look at deals, kind of what's down on average on Amazon if you want to maybe find something for yourself, or find something to buy off Amazon to flip back on Amazon, which is kind of an advanced sourcing technique that I've never dabbled into and I'm not really interested in at this point. You can see everything that you're tracking, the data that you have access to, any information. You can kind of go into their forums and then search specific products. But honestly, understanding all of this is great, but I'm not going to take my laptop with me when I'm sourcing. I'm just going to have my phone. And luckily, I do have a video about how I integrate Keepa with Scoutify 2, which is part of Inventory Lab. It's probably my favorite sourcing software because I can just create buy lists in there. It really makes my life easy. Check out that video if you have Scoutify 2 and you haven't integrated Keepa with it yet. But whether you have done that or you just want to log into Keepa or have another way to access it, let me show you what to look for when you're actually in a store and how it looks on your phone. Cool little van life squad, huh? Oh, that's some shade on my face. So I'm going to show you on my phone what I'm looking for when I'm sourcing. Let me start the screen recording real fast. A little behind the scenes. That's how I line it up in post. What I want to look at with you guys is a product that I recently had to source a lot of when I was at academies doing these couple of videos when they had their massive clearance sales. And this is where I made some of the mistakes before I had Keepa, and then I downloaded Keepa before I went the last time, and then I was able to rectify some of those mistakes luckily. But it's going to be with clothes, specifically like Columbia or Under Armour clothes. I'm actually going to look at something Nike because I'm not able to sell that, so I don't have any fear that it'll actually be a product that I'm selling. What we're going to go to is Scoutify 2 real quick, powered by Inventory Lab. Why did I say that? I sounded like I was doing an ad. I was literally just reading. I'm just going to look up Nike running vest. Carissa wears that. I wear that too, but I don't run nearly as much as she does. I'm trying to find something that's not like super low rank. Something more like the 100,000-ish, not the million. I guess we're going to go with this thing that is 3,366 then. Cool. So we can see here it says Nike Men's Legend Long Sleeve Tee Black Large, meaning that the same listing probably has the medium or small, but all you're seeing on Scoutify 2 is just the large. So what I assumed in the past, which was super wrong of me to assume, was that this is just for the large listing. So the large one is selling enough to have 3,000 ranking and close. Oh, also real quick before we get into the Keepa thing, because I get this question a lot. If you're on Inventory Lab or Scoutify 2 or something, and you're wondering what prep you have to do for something, right here it says polybagging under prep type. So it'll say that right there, or it'll say not applicable, and you won't have to do anything, but if you feel like you still might want to, go ahead and do that for sure. But what I'm gonna do is go down here to research and Keepa. I already integrated it. It's just a quick video that, like I said earlier, but this is gonna pull up my Keepa account. Luckily, I'm already logged in, and we can see a ton of stuff. Pretty much the same thing. You could scroll in and out with your fingers now though, which is nice. I was trying to do that on my computer and it was not letting me. But you can see kind of all these little orange things are where FBA people are. If you don't want to see those orange things because they're annoying, you could just click on any of these to turn them on or off. Or if you click on like the buy box part of it, then it'll just show where the buy box is. And we can see that there wasn't a buy box for a while. If I click on it again, it'll show whatever. The buy box is now off, but I always like to see the buy box. Not only the buy box, but at least to see that there is a buy box, or if there isn't and why. Down here, we can see all of the offers, their offer counts. We can see the different reviews and ratings, and then we see the sales rank. So we can see that obviously, okay, buddy, chill out. The sales rank went way down in November through March because it's a long sleeve thing. So people are getting chilly, so they're not going to be buying it as much in the summer months, which is why you see kind of these seasonal highs and lows, which makes a lot of sense. Also down here, you could see a lot of like the sales rank information. We could see the number of drops in the month in clothing and jewelry, 86 drops, meaning that it probably sold around 86 times in the month. And then the other important information that we have are also data here, which is the exact same stuff that we looked at on the computer with all the product details, offers, buy box statistics, seeing that in this case, there was a pretty good share of the buy box. 40% of the buy box was won by this person at this average price, 39%, 20%. And a lot of that you can see is based on the number of stocks. So each of these had 20 in stock or have 20 in stock. Then these ones have 6, so they're getting less percentage of the buy box. This bottom one is only at 1%, I'm not exactly sure why. But you can also see the amount of ratings that they have, whether they're FBA or not. So that's going to be really helpful to see whether the buy box is going to rotate. And you can see that the prices are relatively stable around that $30 that they're rotating around. You can look at it in the past 30, 90 days, 180 days, 365 days to see kind of where everyone else was. And all these people who are getting on the listing and off are probably people who had just a couple. Like if I was to find this retail arbitrage, send it in, they would give me the buy box just so I could sell out of it, and then I'm done. And that means that I would feel comfortable that I would get the buy box on this specific product, which is super helpful information to know when you're actually in the store wondering whether or not you can actually make this product profitable. The next thing, and probably most important, I really hope that this is the case on this product, is the variations page. Please have more than one variation. Don't prove me wrong and make me look silly. Okay, good. What we can look at is that data is not all just for this large black long sleeve. It's for all of these different ones. You can see there's so many of them. Some of them, like this medium gold silver one, don't have any ratings, meaning that it's likely never sold on Amazon. Whereas something that has 63 ratings, even though it's only 1%, I mean, this thing is probably sold so much. It's got 3,000 reviews, and the ratings have gone up. So you can see as the ratings go up over this 90-day time period, it went up about 10 ratings, meaning it probably sold about 100 times, meaning you could probably sell about one a day, even at that 63 rating. But if you want to see which has sold the most, if you sort by the ratings, we can see that this one over here, this navy, it's not sorting super correctly for me. Oh, I was at the very bottom. No wonder. Anthony, you're so silly. 667 ratings was this black large one, so the one that we picked up. So that would be a really best case scenario where you find something, you're like, crap, this probably has a ton of variations. You look at it, it's the one that sold the most out of all of them. 667 ratings out of all these different variations were just for that one product. This is something super important to realize, and I talked about it in one of those Academy videos that I pointed to, the last one that I actually shot, because I found a product that I actually purchased before. I don't think it's still sold. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure it hasn't sold because it had a really good sales rank. It's just a colorway of the shirt that I was like, oh, this is amazing. The sales rank is going to be crazy. The sales rank is 61,000. This is going to sell so fast. This unit, I don't think it's ever sold. It has 0 ratings. So hopefully it'll sell over the summer. Otherwise, this is going to be liquidated. If you want to see that all in action while I was at Academy, watch this video. If you're interested in integrating Keepa with Scoutify 2, watch this video. And if you're more interested in like this whole van stuff over here that we got going on, check out this video talking about some of my struggles with van life and how I'm overcoming them to still work well and enjoy my life.